Court grants 10 and bad governance protesters bail. Blaze ravages Itamaga Plank Market shop in Lagos. Parents groan as school fees and stationery costs soar amid economic crunch. On the foreign scene, tense wait as vote counting begins in Jordan's parliamentary elections. It's the news update on Trust Television. I am Aisha Salihu. Thank you so much for joining us. Now the news in detail. Justice Emeka Nwite of the Federal High Court in Abuja on Wednesday granted 10 and bad governance protesters who were arrested and detained for treason, among others, to a bail in the sum of 10 million naira each and one surety in like sum. While delivering the ruling, the trial judge held that Nigeria's criminal justice system has its stipulations for the prosecutor and the defendant. Justice Nwite agreed with the argument of the first, second and fourth defendants' counsel, Abubakar Marshall, that anybody charged with a criminal offense must be presumed innocent until proven guilty. And to the devastating effects of the flood, residents of Maiduguri town displaced by water from the Alau Dam are beginning to return to their homes as flood water recedes gradually. Many of the flood victims who slept outside said that though the water had subsided, they wanted to assess their losses. Meanwhile, a situation report on the flood by the United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs said more than 239,000 people were affected by the flood. The floods have forced some of the affected people to move spontaneously to the Muna IDP camp, which was already hosting over 50,000 IDPs. Government authorities have evacuated residents in high-risk riverine areas to several locations. In the same vein, the federal government has begun the evacuation of residents of the affected communities in the flooding that has ravaged Maiduguri, the capital of Borno State. A statement by the National Emergency Management Agency on Tuesday said it is also working on the provision of food, shelter and medical assistance for the victims. The unfortunate flooding situation in the Maiduguri metropolis of Borno State, which started last weekend and increased in the early hours of Monday, resulted from excess water from the Alau Dam. One of the spillways of the Alau Dam collapsed, leading to a significant increase in water flow downstream and exacerbating the flooding in surrounding areas. The areas impacted by the incident include Shahuri, parts of the government residential area, Gambomi, Bodum, Bula Bulim, Adam Kolo, Millionaires Quarters, Monday Market and Gwange. As a result, NEMA said the Borno State government has opened up Bakassi camp to accommodate those displaced by the flood. The chairman of the National Association of Nigerian Nurses and Midwives, Kaduna State Chapter, Ishaku Yakubu, has condemned the recent abduction of health workers in Kuyelo, a village in the troubled Birnin-Gwari local government area of the state. The chairman also said it is unfortunate that the medical and health workers were abducted while saving the lives of the people in the remote community. Trustee Bello Musa has more.
Workers by a bandit who invaded a hospital at Kuyelo, a rural community in Birnin-Gwari local government area, comes a little over 24 hours after an incident of kidnapping and killing of locals was also recorded at Kalla community in Kajuru local government area of Kaduna State. According to the Kaduna State chapter of the Association of Nurses and Midwives, the ugly event is a threat to health workers, especially in the rural community.
But in a situation where, one, the health facility is not secured, the health worker himself will be afraid to go there. In fact, even the patients too are afraid to go to some health facilities, especially the primary health care centers that are in the communities. So one, if the patient is afraid to go, health is affected. People will not seek for help. So it's a major problem. Secondly, the healthcare worker that is supposed to go and provide the health is also afraid to go there.
Other stakeholders and residents of Kaduna are also expressing concern with the lingering insecurity in Kaduna and the North in general, calling for more synergy between the security agencies to tackle the menace.
We keep on seeing no efforts. What we see is a continued insurgency, abduction, kidnapping, killings.
We need to believe that we are all one in Nigeria. So Nigeria is a single country, and we all have a common interest, which our common interest is the whole country should be at peace. For us to achieve progress in this country, we must have that unity, keeping all tribes aside, being Nigerians first before being from any other region.
Opinions. We will work with the private sector. We will work with the press. We will work with everybody, the elite. This is an existential condition that affects all of us, and we need to approach it from that perspective. Everyone is a stakeholder.
Besides Kuyelo health workers who are now in the hands of the bandit, Dr. Ganiat Popola of the National Eye Care Center Kaduna is still in captivity months after she was kidnapped at her residence at the staff quarters. Bella Musa, Cross TV News Kaduna.
Governor Dikko Radda of Katsina State has again weighed in on the ongoing security challenges bedeviling the state. Speaking during an interview, Radda specifically said only 32 police officers are patrolling one local government area in the state. The governor, who didn't state which of the local government areas, said it comprises 10 wards and over 200 villages. According to him, among the 32 officers, only 9 guns are available with just 5 operational vehicles. Katsina has been under severe attack by bandits. Some days ago, Governor Radda called on the people of the state to adopt proactive measures to protect themselves against bandit attacks. Still on security matters, the Defense Headquarters has vowed to arrest the killers of the 17 officers and soldiers in Okwama community who were on a legitimate duty to ensure peace and security in the Delta State community, no matter how long it takes. The Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, made this known at a media briefing after a joint military, police and paramilitary security meeting on Tuesday in Abuja. Speaking through the Chief of Defense Training and Operation, Major General Emeka Onumajuru, on the latest Okwama activity, the CDS said the military will continue to hunt for the killers of the officers and soldiers. General Musa also said the Defense Headquarters was reviewing operations in the northwest zone of the country with a view for better synergy, considering and results noting that the various operations will soon be brought together and harmonized under one commander for more effectiveness. He called on communities in the northwest comprising Zamfara, Katsina, Sokoto and Kebbi, among others, to desist from supporting or providing terrorists with information. And to matters of politics, the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Mahmoud Yakubu, on Tuesday commenced a 3-day readiness assessment tour in Edo State ahead of the off-cycle governorship election scheduled for Saturday, September 21, 2024. Yakubu's first stop was at the INEC office in Igbogba, Oha, local government area, where he inspected non-sensitive election materials. The INEC State Electoral Officer, James Gambley, led the tour and briefed the chairman on the preparedness of the local office. The visit was part of INEC's effort to ensure the smooth conduct of a free, fair and credible election in the state. Following the inspection at Igbogba, Oha, Yakubu expressed satisfaction with the state of readiness. He then proceeded to Ego local government area, where the EO, Boma Bamson, guided the team through the office complex and showcased the non-sensitive materials that are ready for deployment on election day. This readiness assessment is a key part of INEC's election monitoring activities, designed to ensure that all necessary materials and arrangements are in place for a smooth election process in Edo State.
And it's clearly written that it's a mock. Yes. So when you finish, just like this one, you will stamp. You just sign. You just sign, no stamp. It's a mock. Yes, okay. So you sign, put a date, take a snapshot, the number accredited, and then upload it to.
And to the southwest part of the country, the Lagos State Emergency Management Agency has reported a fire outbreak at the Itamaga Plank Market, Ikorodu, in Lagos State. A statement by the agency's head, Public Affairs Unit, Nosa Okumbo, on Wednesday said it received distress calls and immediately activated its Lion Squad from the Agbowa base. Upon arrival at the market at about 4:20 a.m. on Wednesday, it was discovered that one of the shops was engulfed by fire. However, after a thorough investigation, the agency revealed that the fire originated from a power surge. Lasema said the fire consumed the shop, resulting in the partial loss of goods and properties. The agency added that emergency responders have secured the entire area and occupants were enlightened on the proper use of electric appliances. You're watching the news update coming to you live from Trust TV studios in the nation's capital. Still to come. Parents feel the pinch as rising costs strain wallets with school resumption expenditure. We'll bring you details of the story and more after the break. Don't go away. Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. Let's have another look at some of our top stories. We told you that court grants 10 End Bad Governance protesters bail. You also heard blaze ravages Itamaga Plank Market Shop in Lagos. Prices continues to rise amid soaring prices of goods and services. Parents in Kaduna State have been lamenting their inability to afford the needs of returning on fresh students as school resume for the new session. Some parents told Trust TV that the situation will affect the education of their children who will not be able to go back to school after the long vacation due to the increase in fees, books, uniform, and other basic school needs. Trust TV's Bello Musa has more.
With the resumption of schools comes demands such as school fees, uniforms, books, and other educational materials. The possibility of getting these has been negatively impacted by the recent increase in the pump price of fuel, which further aggravated the already bad situation of economy. We are confused as per what to do with the resumption of schools because of the increase in fees and other things. As it stands, we have no option but to enroll our children in schools within our immediate environment. As parents, we are worried that the increase in the fuel price will affect everything, including education. When I was told about the books I have to buy and the increase in school fees, I became confused.
We are simply confused. Confused in the sense that as parents, you begin to wonder what is it you need to do first and foremost. Is it to feed your children, take care of their health, or to pay their school fees, or to do all the other various things that are required of you as father? And then again, when you think of how much you earn per month, and you do all your calculations, you are simply a confused man.
With surging transport fares to and from school, parents are now expressing fears that the situation may result to a further rise in school dropouts.
If you are sending a child to school now, apart from the tuition fee, okay, there's so much else that come with going to school nowadays. Now, if that is the only child you have in school, you're already managing, only struggling to stay in school. Now, think if you have 5, 6, 7 children in different schools. You know how much it takes to send a child in primary school now to school, private primary schools. Okay, they charge you for everything.
We have been battling with this, paying such transportation. Now, just imagine from my house to where my children's school is 700 naira to, and another 700 naira to come. So if I'm paying per day a sum of 1,400, how much is my salary? How much am I earning?
It will affect learning of children, resumption of children, and general schooling.
Proprietors of schools are not exempted, as the situation is also affecting their running costs as well as transportation for those with pick-up services.
When price of petrol and such were increased, we'll look at it, so okay, what will we do? The important thing we need, less running cost. Let the school cover our running cost, that's all.
Although schools in Kaduna are yet to resume, parents are, however, appealing to the government to come to their aid to enable their children remain in school. Bello Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
And in Lagos State, some parents of fresh and returning students of nursery, primary and secondary schools in the state say they are worried that their children may not be able to continue schooling due to the astronomical rise in the cost of educational materials and fees. Speaking to Trust TV in Lagos, some of the parents who are finding it difficult to cope with the rise in the financial burden of their wards say the recent hike in petrol price may result in many dropping out of school. Victoria Tokolo has more in this report as presented from our studio. The economic hardship in the country has forced many Nigerian parents to adopt different methods when it comes to their children's education. As primary and secondary schools resume for a new academic session, many private school parents who previously relied on school bus services for their children have opted out as they are unable to afford both the bus and school fees. A school bus driver who chose to remain anonymous said on Tuesday morning he only picked up 9 students, a stark contrast with previous session when the bus will be filled to capacity. The economic situation of the country has made some parents to withdraw their children from school.
Before 1 week, what children will enter school, I'm starting thinking, I won't do myself. Because all the money that I have, every time I don't spend it. Nothing. To pay school fees, they're easy. You know that when children, they want to enter school, you have to buy books and some equipment that students will use. Everything just they hard. The salary no pay. And all this transportation to go school, everything just gets somehow hard. All the children are hungry. The children that sleep yesterday night without food, this morning they will still go to school to go and suffer. We are really suffering in Nigeria. There's no food, there's nothing. Even the school children, they are suffering.
Not some people have never even paid school fees of last term. This time, even some schools have sent their letters that without paying school fees the last term, that you will not, your child will not go to school this term. So it's not easy for people that have 1 or 2 or 3 children in the school now, and the cost of living, everything is high every day.
Why I would draw them in school is because of the school fees is high. Do you understand? Then, and also, after struggling and training them for school, there's no work in country that you will hoping on to put them tomorrow. So it's better for me to put them in handwork, which I put 3 of them. I have 3 kids now, 2 boys and 1 girl.
As the cost of living surges with each passing day, Nigerians urge the federal government to reduce the price of fuel in the country, saying the increase in fuel is a major factor driving up school fees. They believe that if the price of fuel is reduced, the cost of school fees and school bus fares and others will definitely reduce. Nigeria's crude oil production has increased from 1.307 million barrels per day in July to 1.352 in August. According to the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, in its September monthly oil market report, the average daily crude production rose marginally by 45,000 barrels per day, quoting information obtained through direct communication with the Nigerian government. OPEC's report indicated that output for July was 1.30 mbpd. The development comes on the heels of dwindling crude oil production in recent times. Production had dropped from 1.4 to 427 mbpd in January to 1.322 mbpd. On the foreign scene, counting got underway in Jordan on Tuesday evening following the country's first parliamentary election under a new law designed to improve representation. While voter turnout was higher than in 2020, participation in the poll remained low. The Independent Electoral Commission said 32.25% of the country's over 5 million eligible voters had cast their ballots. An IEC spokesperson said there have been no delays in the opening of polls nor reports of major violations in any of the electoral districts. Under the new electoral law, the number of seats in the House of Representatives has been raised from 130 to 138. This includes provisions to increase the quota for the representation of women and youth, with the minimum age for parliamentary candidates lowered from 30 to 25. Still on the foreign scene, Congolese authorities said that 50,000 doses of smallpox vaccine from the United States arrived on Tuesday, a week after the first batch arrived from the European Union. Adults in Equator, South Kivu, and Sankuru, the three provinces most affected, will be vaccinated first, starting on October 2nd. Chris Kasita Osako, coordinator of the Congolese Committee for the Fight Against Mpox, said last week the first batch of smallpox vaccine arrived in the capital of Congo, the center of the epidemic. The 100,000 doses of Jynneos vaccine, manufactured by the Danish company Bavarian Nordic, were donated by the European Union through HERA, the Union's agency for health emergencies. A further 100,000 doses were delivered over the weekend. The 50,000 doses from the USA will be of the same vaccine. These 250,000 doses represent only a fraction of the 3 million doses which, according to the authorities, are needed to put an end to the smallpox epidemic in the Congo, the epicenter of the global health emergency. And in sports, Nigeria midfielder Raphael Onyedika has agreed personal terms with Turkish Super League champions Galatasaray. According to transfer expert Sacha Tavoleri, Galatasaray are yet to find an agreement with Belgian Pro League champions club Brugge. Tavoleri wrote on X that Galatasaray reached an agreement on a personal terms with Raphael Onyedika on a 5-year contract. Club Brugge are reportedly demanding £20 million to sell the Nigeria internationally. The 23-year-old played a key role in Club Brugge's title success last season. And that concludes the news update on Trust Television at this hour. Do not forget, you can always follow us across all of our social media platforms and also join our YouTube live stream for more news, programs, and documentary. I'm Aisha Salihu. Thank you so much for your time. Join us again.